oh my God, Esther, I always knew you'd do something like this. This is amazing.
God is using
like,
you in many
yes,
ways.
Oh, you are the one. I think the first years were hard, but they were easier to deal with because I was young, I was energetic.
So I like to describe you as a change maker because I've tried to sort of quantify and title what you do.
Yeah.
And there isn't a CEO of this and this. That title isn't there. Do you see yourself as a change maker?
I would like to say yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But like to say
so
yes.
the 9 years have come and there must be things to show for the 9 years. You know how they've been hard?
Yeah.
But there must also be stuff to show for them. What are you proud of?
I want to say that above everything, I am proud that we are still going.
That's big.
Because so many days, so many nights, I have thought tomorrow we are going to wake up and this is not going to be happening anymore. Or people keep walking out and you're like, at the end I'm going to be alone. Again, there's a friend who used to joke, things are going to be hard, Esther, and we are all going to leave you.
Wow.
Because this is not our thing, we shall leave you. And it happened. Like those days I would laugh, but slowly people would start walking away and I'm like, even the person who said it.
And you know, if you were to walk up to me years ago, starting 40, what were you promising me?
So, nothing, absolutely zero, nothing. So the thing is, after that first Easter weekend, a few people texted me and said, oh, I feel like my life has changed, or I'd never done this
because they had come with you.
Yes, I'd done, the truth is, many of us were what, maybe 23, 22, a few older, a few younger. We had just come out of uni, and we had been taken care of, either by a parent or a guardian. So none of us had kids. None of us had seen what it means to get another human being and look after them.
Yes.
So for so many of them, it was like eye-opening, as it was for me.
Yes.
Yeah, my last born, I had also not seen anyone being raised. I love kids, but again, at a distance, like you say, oh, buji, we play, bye. So a lot of them were like, oh, this is something great. So what formed the team is that after that weekend, I said on Thursday we are meeting. Everyone who appeared at that meeting became the team.
Okay.
There was no secretary, I don't know chairperson.
And did you know all of them personally?
Yes. So the beautiful thing about what 4040 did for me and then for others is that weekend I had friends from primary school, from high school, from university to my work life. I brought together everyone that I had met across the different parts of my life. And then I was the unifying factor. So when they got into that room, then they started creating their own relationships. So some got closer than they were with me, that's fine. Some dated, that's great. Okay. And
well, you're running a whole company there.
Exactly. So while I didn't promise anything, everyone had a reason why they had come.
Yes.
I have a friend who lost her parents at a very young age. And for her, this was, okay, I didn't have this. Let me do absolutely everything, you know, that
to give someone else that.
I was coming from a place of privilege. I've been raised by my parents. I know what love looks like. I know what it is to have like a complete family. Let me give a bit of this back. Another person is like, I got an education. Let me educate this child.
Else,
Other people, it was vibes. Let's be honest.
This is fun.
Yeah, this is fun for as long as it lasts. As long as I'm still, you know, hanging out with these cool people. When the clock runs out, I'm out. And everyone, depending on what brought you there, people walked out at the level that they did. So there was no promise of money. No one was earning anything. There was no we didn't know we would ever become, even have a little blurb in a newspaper or whatever. So no one was looking for fame.
Yeah.
It was just, let's figure this out. I was also figuring it out because I was like, we are doing this every Easter or maybe Easter and Christmas. Who knew I would register an organization? Who knew 9 years later would be here? Not me. So all of us were kind of figuring things out at that point.
I've only learned now in my adult life and having a company that working and dealing with people is, exactly. Yeah, like if you could block the light, it's hard. It's hard because then you start to question, is it me?
Yeah.
Because now the other one left. And this one left. It's me.
There's one thing in common with all these people. I am the one.
when you say some came, some went, how does that leave you?
So for me, as a person, I live for closure. Yeah, Flavia, if I call you and you don't pick, then I send you a text and you don't reply. Then after I send you an email and you don't. Already I'm like, was it something I said? Was it the other time when or maybe someone has told us something about me? you know? Then I come to you and you're like, hey, no, it's nothing. It's just because I was busy. And I'm like,
no.
Yeah. So a lot of people did not give me that.
Yes.
They didn't say I'm leaving because I've got a new job. They didn't say this has become too exhausting for me, I can't take it. And
Which you would have accepted?
Of course, like, again, there was no return contract. They owed me absolutely nothing. Most of all, they owed 40-40 nothing. And what hurt me the most was they were my friends first. So you're doing this maybe to me as a leader, but is that what you do to Esther the friend? And how do we reconcile that? How do we still hang out and have tea and have whatever, yet you had promised to handle our comms, or you had been the one who would check every Saturday at the orphanage? Like, what's that about? Yes. So for me, I was not so hurt about the exit. It is how they left. And when people leave, how they leave will always tell you what your relationship really was or who they really were to you.
I'm already drained for you. But I remember the thing, there was either a library or a dormitory that was furnished or refurbished in the first year. What are the milestones that you've since reached?
Okay, so there's both a library and a dormitory. So
well
I'm just
I'm
just going to go in bits. So that dormitory for us, I think, was such a breakthrough moment because after we had worked with one orphanage for a year and a half, a lady who happened to also come there because she knew them just put me aside one day and said, I also have a home in Luero. You come and check it out. And I'm like, checking it out?
I'll come.
We can check out. Guys, couple, let's get into one car, let's all head to Luero, and we got there. When we get there, it's almost the same story as the orphanage we were at. They had so many children, such little space, and no plan for a savior to come and fix it. They were their savior, you know, just figuring things out. But the thing I loved most about this lady, she's called Joyce. She was a social worker, so she came from a place of, I understand this, every day should be brought babies who have been abandoned. And her solution was, yes, I'm a government worker, but also I can do something about it. So when I can, let the babies be here. When they're adopted, great. If the mother comes to her senses, the child is still here. If the parent who had abandoned whatever, you know, I'm good. So I was really touched by that. So what happened again is that I'm like, most we've raised is over 3.1 million. What do you mean 20?
And at this point, you don't have a full-time job.
No. By this time, actually, I had quit to run 40-40.
There you go.
So I'm just like, tuli kuchina. But again, like the first time when I didn't promise, I said, let's see what we can do. Maybe we can try to get half and you get half. But how do you tell someone with zero to get half?
Yes.
Although in a way we were also at zero and we were going to look for half. So what we did is that we came up, and then again, the passion, the energy was mind-blowing. Yeah. We were like, what? Look at our challenge. We're up for this challenge. And you know, like, there's power in numbers. Because I wasn't alone, I had people I could count on. I'm like, we can do this. So what we did is that we hosted a fundraiser. The first event was called Croak and Rhyme, where we just croaking and rhyming, like singing and also poetry. I remember it was at Sheraton Lions Bar. When we went to talk to them, we knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who could get it for us.
Don't you just love Uganda?
On a charity.
Let me call someone.
Yes. So we go there, and even then you can see they're just like, surely how many people can you bring in? Like, this is a weekend that we could be making money. We are like, no, even us, we didn't know that we could bring people. I think we brought like 100 chairs, the day chairs. The chairs are not enough. People are literally like outside. Like, you know how you go and you're like peeping over the fence to see what's going on? And these people, they didn't know 40-40. It was formal. Like, a lot of them were just like, what's this thing that's happening?
Let's do a cool thing.
Yes. The musicians on the like list were nobodies by then. Some of them have now like become like major artists, but by then it was just vibes again. But then at the end of the night, we've raised 5 million shillings. And we are just like, so you remember the other 28? I think it's actually possible. So we started to raise money. We ran a campaign on Twitter and Facebook called Buy a Brick. I think that was our biggest campaign. That hashtag just, like, it took a life of its own. We were just seated on our phones, but then like money was coming in. I remember in 8 days we raised 10 million shillings. Because
all they had to do was, how much were they?
500 shillings.
500 shillings, I remember.
So people are giving 500, some people are giving 10,000, some people are giving 1 million shillings. When we saw this 10 million, we are like, surely we can do this. So in the long run, we set up that dormitory for 210
job.
children in Luwero. As 4040 and the programs that we run, one of the things that we wanted to do from those days, but we've not been able to do, and now the pandemic has sort of even shown the necessity, is that, Flavia, did you have a library growing up, like a library in your neighborhood?
Neighborhood, no, but I think I used the museum.
Yes.
You know, yeah, that is our old school.
So that
yeah.
is
Don't count my age, people.
Now me, I think there's one at Buganda Road.
Yes,
like that's the
yes,
only
as
one I
well.
ever knew, but I had never gone to it. Yeah, all the schools I ever read, all the books I ever read were the ones that my siblings had read before that were available.
That's true,
now.
actually.
And I consider myself someone who actually semi-privileged. I had food on the table, I had a bed to sleep in and what. Now imagine these kids. Yeah, who's going to buy you a book for what, by the way?
No, say you want a book, that's good. For what?
Okay.
How much? No, you don't need the book.
Okay, but supper or a storybook? Look at your priorities.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is to set up learning centers that are just beyond a library.
Wow.
This is a place that will have books. This is a place that will have computers. I don't know if, I think a year or two ago, there was a Ghanaian teacher who went viral because he was teaching Microsoft Word on the blackboard.
I remember that.
Like he really drew everything. That's commendable, but let us give this teacher a computer.
Please.
Let us save him from his misery so that the child is
Yeah.
actually clicking the icons and seeing what they do. Yeah, these learning aids. So for us, the bigger dream is that these schools that we work with, they can't afford a library. They can't afford some textbooks. Here is a place you can afford to. You can just walk in and borrow the textbook. Suddenly, one book is serving 10 schools.
Yes.
When you're done, you bring it back, another person, science, SST, math.
Wow.
Yeah. When a community meeting wants to be, there's need to host a community meeting and there's no space, here is space in our resource center. You guys just sit there, do your things, discuss how to improve, and then move away.
Pause. Do you ever get the people who come and say, but I have given, but tell the world I
Yes,
have...
of course.
Okay.
The people who are like, please do not ever mention my name, I'm not. Then another person is like, hey, the other day you did MCM and for me you've not yet
Talk about me.
acknowledged my 50K. I'm just like,
Not that it's not important,
yes,
but
I'm like, I'm so sorry. How would you like the font of your poster to
Wow.
be? Because we do not want to chase you away if this is what you...
Yes.
So there are those people who it's for sure. Then there are people who I think that in their hearts, they feel like, once I articulate it, even if I don't do it, I am much closer to heaven.
God has had
He
you
has
saying,
had.
I'll give.
It was from my heart.
Yeah.
There are other people who haven't promised. So I'm better than them. Yeah? Can't I? Aren't I? But then I genuinely think that like our lack of integrity spurs like so many facets. It's not just professionally, it's personally.
Yeah. So you have a project. I actually got a gift. A journal. I used to be afraid of journaling because I'm like, what if someone steals the book and gets to know
And
my
sees
thoughts?
all your secrets.
All my secrets. But it's also very powerful because after the year we've had, everything can't stay here. We will go mad.
We will.
Yeah,
and I think
so-
some of this trauma is going to affect us like 10 years down the road.
Standard. So we need to fix it now. So tell us about the Phoenix Journal, and then as we wrap, perhaps how people can find you or support 4040.
I want people to discover themselves. A lot of these things we've been talking about, people who are dishonest, a lack of integrity, it's because we don't sit with ourselves and see our toxic nature. We don't have honest conversations.
ourselves,
We are not vulnerable. Yeah, so that because when you're vulnerable, even other people are vulnerable about you, and then you're like, I think I did this because of ABC. We've not faced our trauma, we've not faced our pain, and writing helps a lot with that.
Wow.
So this was the idea behind the Phoenix project, and it's going to have so many other products and services that I'm excited about. And another day we shall sit and talk about those things when they come out.
Esther Kalenzi, be the change maker. I think she told you that above and beyond all are collecting the money, doing this, doing that. If she can get you to understand that you are that change, right?
Yes.
That where you are, you can just use what you have to change either your life or someone else's life, then she has accomplished. So can we make her dream come true?
Please.
We can't fix all the other dreams now.
But this one is manageable.
But this one is
One
manageable.
step at a time.
Yes. So if today you can decide on what you're going to do to change the world around you and yourself, you'll have made her dream come true.
I'll
The
be
first
having-
dream of many.
Sleeping very happily
Yes.
after that.
And I'm going to put all the details of how you can find 4040. And you know, now people who are watching are beyond Uganda. And the
Yes.
beauty about you can get support from anywhere,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to support the work she does or get to know her and 4040 more, I'm going to leave all the links. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you too. I had an amazing time.
Looking gorge, right? Guys, you can see, right? All the beauty. Thank you so much.